All right, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Randomly with Ronnie Jr. Today, Nick Perdue. Nick, how the heck are you doing? Let's talk about your comedy career. Let's talk about comedy in general and how I've known you for a really long time. How you doing today, man? Welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you. Good to see you. It's been years
Yeah,
since we've seen each other, let alone been in the same room. But it's great to see you. I'm glad that you're doing well. Comedy, comedy's fun still. I think I don't know.
hmm
I don't know because they're punching people on stage. You can't say this, you can't say that, which is fine. But also, there's a lot going on.
yeah. I always, through my career in radio, and we'll talk about Nick comedy, his thoughts on even the big things like cancel culture or whatever, some of his writing attributes and working on big television shows in general on the production team. We'll talk about that in a second. But what's interesting, Nick, is I've, as a radio personality, have always been able to have a lot of fun on radio and even bring charm and warmth to the show. So sometimes you make jokes. I've actually, and not to pat myself on the back, but I've heard people say, Ronnie, you should try comedy. But I've always been like, it's too sacred. Like it's such a hard practice. And I respect it so much. And I always say, if I do comedy, I think I would have like a drug problem immediately. So it just is not really for me. But I appreciate the art form of it because it ain't for everybody, you know? Some of
Yeah,
the best really went through a lot of deep emotional shit. I mean, honestly.
yeah. It's well, okay. Well, just this business in general, right? Just the entertainment business, it's so tough and it's so hard, right? And then I think comedy just kind of exacerbates that because let's say you're an actor who's out there auditioning and being told no, but you're also like trying to do stand up and you're trying to write jokes and you go to open mics and no one's laughing and it's just like 5 minutes on stage of you dying. And it's like you have to really want to do what you want to do in order to become the best. And that's why, I think so many of the greats have this, this thing that it sucks because it's like sure they're demons, I guess you can call them, because it's like we don't know the things that they went through just to get to where they are. And again, when you climb that mountain, when you're the Chappelle, when you're the Chris Rocks, when you're the uh Jerry Seinfelds of the world, you know what I mean? Like there's so much other stuff that these men and even women had to do just to get there that it's like I get it. And
Yeah.
that's why coke is so prevalent in the comedy
In
community.
some respects, you do that with every art form, though. You exchange these heavy breakups, and you write this really interesting love song. So it's not like comedy is the only medium that does it, but it just does it on such a raw level, and I really appreciate it as a fan. Growing up, I mean. Now everyone's loving, of course, the George Carlin documentary was fantastic. Joan Rivers, of course, always moved you as a person, not even just comedically. And
Yeah.
growing up for me, the outside of like Eddie Murphy Raw was good, but the one that really from front to back always stood the test of time was You So Crazy by Martin Lawrence. Like that just was done in such a way. I felt like he was very fearless in what the fuck he was doing. Like he did not give a shit, which, he's had his problems too or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
again, every great has their story, has their whatever. You know what I mean? So like Chappelle left and went to Africa, and whether or not that was from the comedy itself, it's like in order to get to that point, I feel like you have to go through something kind of painful, or it's like
yeah. Well, let's
you have,
let's talk. We have a little bit of time with you. We'll do more episodes with you down the road. Nick is somebody I've known for a very long time. In fact, I could actually say you always hear this story where people, when they're coming up or whatever, or their career pursuits, oh yeah, I remember these times I had to like sleep on Nick's couch or whatever. Like I literally have had moments when I was living back in New York and I come back to LA to visit, and I would stay over at Nick's place. And I know you've done that for other people too. So you have a really big sense of like what it is to be an artist and to respect other starving artists. I'm not saying you're starving now, but
I'm still stuck. I'm always going to be a
all right,
star.
well, it's peaks and valleys, baby. So let's talk about the good and the bad. I wanted to kind of talk about a show that you worked on, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I want to know your capacity on that show, you know, specifically what you did on that show, and what it means to you. Because to think about it, you, I guess, wrote on a couple of episodes or whatnot. Just tell me about that experience in general.
Brooklyn was, my introduction to television, and I think it was probably the best introduction that I could have had. I started with the show season two as an office PA along with two other office PAs. So all three of us, we were brand new, working in television, and so we were messing it all up. Jeff and Christine, I'm gonna love them and appreciate them forever. And we I just kind of learned everything. And so being in the production office, you get a chance to meet everybody and all the different departments. And so that allowed me to just talk to everybody. And I was telling people, I was like, hey, I'm gonna be a showrunner. Like the goal is to be a showrunner. I want to write, and I'm kind of funny. So hopefully, things work out, right? Fast forward to season 4, I was able to talk my way into the writer's room as a writer's PA. And so that kind of got me closer to the jokes, which was great. But, still getting coffee and grabbing lunch and cleaning up and this and that, and yada, yada, yada. But from there, season 5, I was a writer's assistant. And so that allowed me to kind of get into the actual room where the jokes and the stories were being crafted, and, maybe even kind of pitch a little bit, or even kind of have like a little idea or thought, which was nice, because Dan was great in kind of allowing the assistants to really see how the cake was made. And
so this is the showrunner,
Dan Gore. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Co-creator with Michael Schur, who's great. But like this, Brooklyn was like Dan's baby. So Dan was, really instrumental in just, making sure that all of the assistants just kind of got exposed to everything, which was, tremendous. And then after season 5, we were almost canceled, or we were canceled, and then we were picked back up by
yeah, that's what I remember. You traded networks basically.
Yeah, which was...
Wait, so let me go on the timeline with you. You started from scratch on this show. You're finally cutting your teeth, kind of growing. Not that you're really where you want to be, but you're having a great time being a writer's assistant and kind of shadowing people. So you're like, this is a great big show. I hope the show continues on. But it gets pulled from you. And you're still newer. I won't say green, but you're still newer, that you're like, shit, I'm going to have to start again. So you felt that whole, we are canceled, and then they came back. Well, shit, how thrilled were you when the show came back?
There's this tweet that I posted as soon as I read the Deadline article, and I was wearing a Brooklyn Nine-Nine beanie, and I was playing, I think it was either Mace, like Welcome Back or something. Anyways, but it was stupid, but people liked it. Fans of the show really, really liked it. And so I don't want to say it went viral, but a few people saw it. So I was thrilled, just because I was like, I can keep paying bills. Like, at the end of the day, it's like, as a PA, you're not making any money. Like, you're literally the bottom of the totem pole. So, and luckily on that show early on, we still had like 22 episode seasons, which meant a lot more work than what television is now. So I was just happy, because I was just happy to keep on paying bills. And, I enjoyed working with everybody. And, since I've been on the show for, at that point, it was like 4 seasons now, going on 5 seasons. It's like, it was a family, so I think we were all kind of like excited, and, so that was fun.
Yeah.
And then, season 7, was able to write an episode with the very funny Bo Rollins, who's now writing on Killing It. So you guys check that out. It's on Peacock. So, our episode, again, I think was probably the funniest episode. And then season 8, our final season, Dan, just kind of said to everybody, was like, everyone's gonna get a chance to write. So we basically just split up everything. So I was able to, share an episode with the very talented, very funny Jess Dweck, who I worked with again on Hacks. And, we can just go through her IMDb and her resume, and like, she's hilarious. And like her tweets, every tweet goes viral. Let me just put it that way. That's how every tweet goes viral. So yeah, so it was that show will always hold a special place in my heart because it's literally my first and second on-screen credits, and
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, that must feel incredible to like share that for the people who were like, what are you doing? People probably were haters at the beginning saying, you're not, listen, if you want to be a writer, why don't you write your own stuff? They probably looked at you and said, why are you becoming a PA to do it? But they didn't realize you were joining yourself and aligning yourself with one of the strongest teams, as far as shows that were being filmed here in Los Angeles. So that was exciting as a fan, not a fan of yours per se, like a fan, but a supporter rather. Like to see that, I was like, oh, okay, look at him staying, consistent. And this was around the time I moved to New York, so I like, our friendship when I lived in LA was a lot closer. But when I moved to New York, I only saw the highlight reel, and I was like, oh shit, I don't got nothing, I don't have anything to compare, I wanted to talk about before we switch to hacks. I wanted to talk about the camaraderie and chemistry of working with the right people, networking. A lot of times, people this day and age, they're like, oh, you have access to digital, so you could just DM somebody. And you can,
true.
and you can, but there's nothing bigger than the groundwork of being on the floor, ground up networking. And to that, I want to shout out a couple of my own programs too, that I don't just work on here. Randomly with Ronnie Jr. It's a podcast. It's an interview series, a lot of fun episodes there, and we're making some positive adjustments, so that's exciting. And Difficult Podcasters is a show that I do where we recap Hulu's Difficult People from a couple years ago. I would say just as funny, if not funnier than Brooklyn Nine-Nine. No diss or anything like that. It's just the show was a smaller show, and me
Yeah,
and my dear friend Kelly, we recapped all 28 episodes. And Nick, that's what it's all about, man. It's all about the connection and working with the right people. That's why, like, I've been meaning to get you on my damn show forever. And here it is. Before we jump to Hacks, because Hacks is like the big, like Emmy nominated, going to season 3, exciting show. Tell me a little bit more about the other projects you work, where you work with friends you've come up with for a lot of years. On the screen here, we have something that you worked on. I believe at the helm of this was well, actually, you could tell me about this
Phil
project.
tech. So this was one of those things. Hollywood also allowed you to have vanity titles. And that's exactly what this was for me because I didn't have my hand on this project at all. As aside from just helping out financially slightly. Um, so but I've seen cuts and it's actually they just entered, because Phil directed, I believe wrote Phil, I'm sorry, but produced this thing, edited this thing, and it's just about like friends going to Bogota and having a incredible trip and trying to find themselves and wanting to try ayahuasca for the first time because thinking that trying ayahuasca is going to fix
Mm.
their problems at home. You know what I mean? But it's a great film. It's at the Marina Del Rey Film Festival. So on the 20th, I believe you can get tickets. I believe tickets are still available. So if you do want to see it on the big screen, you can go to the Marina Del Rey Film Festival. You can Google it, I believe, and you can check it out. But yeah, so I mean, Phil did that. Khalil is in it. Khalil is in this photo here with the I believe was it Angela? Not what's Susie from the Rugrats? That's who's on that sweater there.
Oh, I never watched cartoons, so I don't know. I was a grown up since day one.
Rugrats throwback. You know what I mean?
No, I
Um,
only watched the DuckTales because Scrooge McDuck, he jumped into money every day and swam in the money, and that I could relate to as a kid. But cartoons, I don't know. Okay, we do have a little time with you here. Let's jump to a show that is huge. Everyone fawned over this show, season 1. I loved every episode, season 2 as well. Let's talk about your involvement of it, or just even as a fan, what you feel about a show like this, because it is a show that is rooted in comedy. I know Showtime had a show that was rooted in comedy, but sometimes they don't play well. But this beautiful piece that Gene Smart jumped into called Hacks has really just been such a hit for HBO. I find me laughing really hard at Hacks and also really hard at the other two. Those are my two HBO shows that I'm like, holy shit, like gut busting laughs. What was your involvement with the show, and also how excited are you to see that they just Emmy wins and just the growth of this show in general?
that photo. Yeah, I mean, it was real exciting just to kind of hop on, for a season 2. they they basically started season two right after they finished season one, so it was like, like a real quick turnaround there. But it was great. Jen, who is here on the left, is a Clipper fan, so any Clipper fan you gotta support. Gene Smart, in the middle. It's look, anytime you can get a legend like Gene Smart on television to say things, do things, that we were able to, that to get her to say and do on the show, I think is a complete win. And of course, Paul and Lou Chia, who, um, I believe, I don't know if it's public knowledge or not. I feel like it is, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I won't say. I mean, they are married, and there's that. But it's an amazing team. It was interesting because I haven't worked with like a team of three showrunners prior, so this was great. But they were also very hands on. And Paul, who's also on the show, he plays Jimmy, who is Hannah Einbinder's, who's Ava's agent. Um, very funny, and Lu Chia is just brilliant in her directing and just like knowing what she wants, and she is just very, and it's just like, oh yeah, you're like, I get it, like I completely understand why you guys have these awards, and why this show is so successful, because they
Yeah.
we're just able to make something so magical, and I enjoyed it. I enjoy watching, like, even knowing what's going to happen, just watching the performances on screen, and the
And
blood on Gene Smart's face is, oh my.
that doesn't happen much. When you work on a project, you could see the secret sauce, so you're not able to like enjoy it a lot. But I think it's for you probably because it's comedy, and you've always had such a fascination with the world of comedy that
Yeah,
you're able to like know what happened, so to speak, but then also still see it as a great show. I thought season one, when there was a lot of comparisons, they're like, oh, it's like the Joan Rivers story. I was like, credit to Joan because she's the queen, but also credit to the show because I didn't see Joan Rivers at all. Just because they were both a woman of a certain age, I thought that was actually a good thing to reduce this show at the beginning, season one, like, oh, it's just like Joan and Melissa Rivers. No, the fuck it isn't. And I say that with love to Joan and Melissa because I love Joan Rivers. I got a picture of her in my space in my room. It's from the 80s, so it's big gaudy 80s hair. So Joan is the queen. But like to make it like what Gene Smart was doing was just a take on Joan. No, what Gene was doing was different. It was unique, and I personally loved it. So season one, you watch it as a fan. You love it as just a viewer consuming it. Season two, what's your involvement on the show, and how did you link yourself into it?
So I was the script coordinator for season two. One of our former coworkers, great friend Marcy, connected me with the showrunners, and and we started working together. And so basically, a script coordinator, proofs scripts and gets them out to the studio, and make sure that when characters are on screen, that writers get paid, and that writers get paid when they write their scripts, and there's continuity.
Yeah,
There's
it's a whole machine.
there's just
I got to
there's
speak to it.
and
What's your favorite thing about Hacks? Just give me in general the show. What is your favorite thing? Is it that you get to see comedy from a more layered perspective? I love seeing the BTS behind the scenes moment. I personally enjoy that. And here's the last thing. I don't know if this is for you, but for me, at the beautiful age of 41 years old, when the metabolism slows down, I like seeing stories of people of a certain age. I get a little tired that everything is so young. And what made it beautiful is you mixed the two characters. You mixed the millennial who had a cancel culture moment with, somebody that while she's a legend, she might be slightly detached from, how to update your comedy. I thought that was a perfect recipe. Was that what did it for you too?
yeah, I mean, and just any time that something is set in the world of stand up, I mean, like even like Crashing, which was, I thought was hilarious. I was like, oh yeah, this is great. And
That
it
was the Showtime one I was mentioning. Yeah.
yeah, great. Yeah. So, yeah, like I just gravitate towards it just because I gravitate towards comedy, but I'm also like story, and so if you're able to give me a complex character, and because like we were talking about earlier, like comedians are very complex characters, especially when they get to that point, like they've gone through some shit, and what you'll see if you haven't watched season two yet, and now season three, that Jean, or her character Deborah, has gone through a lot of stuff just to get to where she's at, and it's like I don't want to lose it, and so there's a lot there.
It's a
So
great show. I
yeah,
love the way
watch.
Gene, huh?
Is it if you haven't watched season 2 for your viewers and for your fans? Watch
Well,
season.
shit, I might do a rewatch on my Patreon. So that works for everybody. You could support my Patreon because you should do it, and we'll rewatch it together because I love the show. No, I love the way Jean did embody that. It was as if she broke a layer that she sort of kept as a protective barrier, which, and we think we all do this as comics, you're willing to sell yourself up the river, so to speak, and show your ass every day, but you choose what you're showing. It's
Yeah,
almost like we do a vulnerability that we've decided that's going to come to you. I've done it in radio, but then the stuff that's really like tight to me, I keep it as like, I don't want anyone all up in my business.
right.
And Jean's character, Deborah, really crashed through that second season. I could go on and on about this show. We'll talk about Hacks a little bit more later on, but kudos to the entire team. And you know what? Your involvement now, and if you are involved in season 3 in any capacity, that's fantastic too. But real quickly, I want the fastest paragraph you could give me on this topic, only because it did come up in Hacks, cancel culture. As a person who is a writer, I even feel like I love who I am as a broadcaster, but you have to be sort of aware of everything. What, as a writer, very involved in comedy, do you love the concept? Are you pissed about the concept? Do you think there's a lot of dummies out there who are just trying to use it as an excuse? Because I don't necessarily think you always need to hit the vulgar things to be funny. Give me your thoughts.
True. Yes. I don't think that you always need to hit the vulgar things to be funny, although vulgar things can be funny. I am a firm believer in I think you can say whatever you want to say. It's just all in how you say it. Because one, especially in comedy, delivery, and timing is key. So, but with that being said, I also understand that we are now in a different time, because like comedy 10 years ago was completely different than comedy now. And so I think what cancel culture is doing is it's either going to like it can either just mess everything up, or if we use it correctly, then I think it will help people grow, and
Yeah.
it should help people change and evolve, you know what I mean? Because sure, everyone could do like a poop joke, or just like a
Right.
terrible poop joke.
That's a good point.
Can you do a sophisticated poop joke?
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Well, season 1 of Hacks, that's what she told Hannah. Not Hannah. She told gosh, the character's name.
Ava.
She told Ava, no, it just wasn't funny. And
Yeah.
that's what a lot of people are doing. They're using this cancel culture concept as like, oh, you were a hater to me. No, motherfucker, you weren't funny. That's
Yeah.
number one. That's number one. So it's intriguing to me. Again, I'm not a comedy writer, but I do radio. So there's a little bit of similarities in that. Let's move on. I got 2 more things for you, and we got a limited amount of time. We will have Nick on the show many more times. This one's exciting. Actually, we'll do one thing and then I have another question. Tell me about we had met at a certain time. We were doing a digital podcast actually years ago. And where did you navigate from doing that and having the aspirations to be a writer, or move forward in the comic world? And how did you navigate that? We talked about welcoming on our show one time, Happy Endings. We were doing the recap, and one of the writers at the moment was Prentice Penny, who's now become the biggest thing since sliced bread all over everywhere.
Right?
Was he somebody that helped navigate you to some of these opportunities? And what do you think about seeing somebody like him grow so quickly? And he's a native LA guy, just like you. I mean, how prideful is all that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I love Prentice. Just watching everything that he's doing is incredible. Prentice, I am available for staffing. He's
Call it out, buddy.
he is the one who got me into Brooklyn. So like I don't want to say that I owe everything in my television career, because he won't allow me to say that. But I do owe a lot to Prentice for just getting me started and just kind of getting me in the room. And so, again, I want Prentice to have the Dick Wolf situation, to where he has 8 nights of television on TV every night, and he has the keys to the castle, and he can do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
Much
Well, Hey, what he did on Insecure certainly put you in that as a fan.
The Emmy. He's the Emmy.
Yeah, that series was incredible, and it's been interesting to see all that he's done. And there is another refreshing part. So for you, for me, for Prentice, but not for many other people, um, we all have a made in LA mentality, meaning we're all from Los Angeles. But if you work in the industry in Los Angeles, you don't ever see that. Tell me about the sweet spot, the challenges and or the positive things about that you come from a place that's so close to Hollywood, yet it's not exactly in Hollywood. And talk about working with transplants that come in here into the industry. How do you feel about being one of the few LA guys?
I mean, it's great because I can go into a room, because people always ask like, "Where are you from?" And say, "I'm from here." And they're like, "What do you mean?" Like, "I'm from LA." And they're like, "Oh wow, we don't meet many of you." I'm like, "Well, if you go outside Hollywood, then there's millions of us." Uh, but it is something because growing up in the city, you're able to watch things and you're able to kind of see things from a different lens because everyone else is looking from the outside in, seeing all the glitz and all the glamour, and like, oh my goodness. And like Sunset Boulevard is the boulevard of broken dreams because everyone who comes to want to be an actor or a now social media influencer or whatever, it's like, look, everyone's not gonna get it. You know what I mean? So you gotta figure something else out. And the nice thing about being from here is that you're able to really make good connections. And, a lot of people say that people from LA are fake. I'm like, that's not true. People, all these transplants are the ones who are fake because they believe in this culture, in this LA mentality that's only being perpetuated by a bunch of transplants. Like a lot of the realest people I know are people from LA who, but it is what it is.
One question I have for you though, because what's different between you and I, you said everything you said is great and you stand by that. For me, I also did another thing, which was move to New York because I felt like I needed, and collectively I was there about 6.5 years, 7 years, probably will be back. But the bigger thing is, I felt like that was important for my growth. Had you ever had a moment that you wanted to make a move to, or did you just always say, I'm gonna, it's here or nowhere?
Yeah,
was
I mean, it's like, why would I leave? Like, I've been to New York, and I've stayed for like a week. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can't live here. And
Oh, really? You don't like it that much?
I was there in February, and I was freezing. This is stupid. I didn't go home. I was like, I don't need to. I don't want to walk everywhere.
You
Like,
don't feel like there's the characteristic skills that
no,
grow. Remember, Prentice used to have a show on Fuse TV that was a
hey,
New York show.
hey, yes,
Um,
yes,
oh yeah, for me
London.
it's different. I grew up in LA, but I always had just a liking to New York City. And I still feel like it's the center of the universe. So I actually don't rep LA as much as I probably should. But when I'm interviewing somebody like you, I do find it fascinating that you're going to be around nothing but people from Massachusetts or whatever, and what that's like for you. And you've done a good job. Let me do one little quick promotion because I want to show you, anyone who's checking this out, some of the other programs, as I said, that I have: randomlywithronniejr.com, difficultpodcasters.com, popculturepov.com, let's shine a light on it.com. That one is a profiling small businesses. So we've got a lot going on at Randomly Ronnie Jr. If you want to support, the Patreon is patreon.com/randomly Ronnie Jr. I talked enough. To take us out of here, do you have any promotional stuff or things you want to say about your career as we get out of here? And this was fun, Nick. Shit, this was
Yeah,
great. Yeah,
it was
good attitude as always.
great. One, Nick is available for staffing. So let
Would you stop trying to get a job on my fucking show?
your favorite showrunner know. Look, I am looking for management. I am taking meetings and all that fun stuff. So I am working on that myself. But
Is there real quick? Is there something you're strong at, like in the world of writing? What is your strong point?
just characters. Really, it's just like I am a big character dialogue like joke. That's my wheelhouse. Like I am getting better with story, but just like characters going back and forth and just quick. That's just
Okay.
I love it. Um, but yeah, follow me at the Nick Perdue basically everywhere. I feel like I might start TikToking. I'm not gonna say that I am, but people
It's
say
all it's so challenging. Yeah.
to figure out how to make
Trust
some.
me, if iHeart was smart or Spotify would have hired me originally, I would not be doing a independent podcast talking about independent podcasts, solidarity. Like fuck that. I would have been making the good money, but these fuckers don't want to pay attention. But it's okay. We're here now and we're happy. I think we're happy. Are we happy? I think we're happy. Last
Yeah.
question for you, Nick. If
Yeah.
you were able to write on a project from any funny celebrity that is no longer with us, who just in a perfect world, what person would that be?
Jeez, from any
The
funny stuff.
question that I usually do for myself is usually if I could interview anyone who's not with us, in terms of radio, who would that be? So for you, if you got to work on a project, you're in the front seat of
Oh,
this whole thing. Yeah.
easy. Patrice O'Neill.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes, that's hands down. If Patrice had a sitcom, and I feel like he had pilots or something, but oh my God, I don't want to say I idolize Patrice, but just like I would just love to just write for
Yeah.
him to, because he's insane. And
It's good because I like to ask that question because it gets to showcase who you take your creative inspiration from, and we're not all the same, but it's who we pick and grab from in terms of how we get inspired to continue. People laugh at me because I like J-Lo so much. And of course I watched the J-Lo documentary recently and they're like, she's not even that talented. I'm like, her fortitude is amazing. Like she's going to do what you're going to tell her she's not going to do. I might not be that strong. Me, Ronnie, I'm not that strong. So it's always interesting to see who we get our passion from and our creativity from. Any more comments? I wish I could talk to you more, but I definitely got to wrap. And thank you for taking the time to talk with me, Nick.
no, that was it. This was great, and we will talk again soon, and we'll do this again soon.
I'm gonna hire Nick for free 99 to do this once a month. We're gonna pick a topic. Actually, write that in the comments. Pick a topic in the world of pop culture, and me and Nick might do this once a month or whatever. Again, for free 99 because I'm not paying his ass. Unless you sign up for Patreon, maybe. We'll see.
Okay.
Nick, I gotta go. Nick Perdue, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie Jr.